to our Google Classroom, guys. My name is Mr. Leo Letim, your instructor for your color rendering or the visual techniques 2 in architecture. Okay, let's start with the word design. How you will define the word design? As defined by the Longman Dictionary of Contemporary English 1987 has the following meanings. As a noun, it means design is a drawing or pattern showing how much something is to be made. The art of making such drawings or patterns. Design also is the arrangement of parts in any man-made product, such as machine or work of art, as this influences the product practical usefulness. Design can be a decorative pattern, especially one that is not repeated. Design is a plan in the mind. The word design is also used as a verb with the following meanings: to make drawing or pattern or something that will be made or built for a certain purpose or use. Okay, so we have here visual design elements. What are the design of visual arts? Okay, so we have here 7 integral components used in the creation of a design, known as the elements of art. What are those elements of art? Line. Number 2, color, form, shape, spice, texture, and value. Let's proceed. Design can be point to point in geometry as location. It has no size. Example, no width, no length, no depth. A point is shown by a dot. A line is defined as a line of points that extends infinitely into 2 directions. A line can be straight. Also, a line can be curved. Patterns and illustration using points and dots. Here are some examples of how you can form or make a shape using dots pattern. What are the architectural use of points and dots? Well, points and dots can be one of the good elements of your design or your visual arts. Example, in the facade of your building, lots of dots or hole or circle design. For your assignment in our first lesson today is make at least 2 patterns using points or dots, or you can create a form or shape of anything by using points or dots. Okay, just see my instruction at the end of this video on how to do your homework. Alright, let's continue on the line. About lines. How do you define line? Line is a mark on a surface that describes a shapes or outline. It can be create texture, and it can create thick and thin. A line can be curvy, or the line can be diagonal or slant, or horizontal or vertical. A line can be zigzag, wavy, and spiral. Types of lines. There are 4 types of lines. The vertical lines represent dignity, formality, stability, and strength. Horizontal represent calm, peace, and relaxation, also stability. Diagonal lines represent action, movement, excitement, and activity. Curve represent freedom. the natural, having the appearance of softness, and that creates a soothing feeling or mood, like the new moon or the crescent moon, like the edges of the leaf or the petals of the flower. Those are curved shapes. Let's continue. Here are some example patterns and illustration using lines. There are hatching lines that are hatches. There are curvy, and there are straight lines. So you can create new forms and shapes by combining different kinds of lines. In architecture, lines are very useful to create a new idea of form or shape. The use of lines in architecture. Vertical lines. A vertical line can be used in tall buildings. No building exists without vertical lines. Even though in the art of expressions or expressive architecture, some buildings are created not all by horizontal lines, but also with a mix of diagonal lines, curvy lines, like in this example here. The curved lines can be used also in architecture. See the example of building. These buildings are all existing today. While for your assignment, make a different pattern using different lines, like this one. Shape or plane, two-dimensional contour that characterizes an object or area. It has only length and breadth. Here are some very basic geometrical shapes that you can use and create for your architectural design. Circle, oval, triangle, square, trapezium, diamond, rhombus, parallelogram, rectangle, pentagon, hexagon, heptagon, octagon, nonagon, and even decagon. Here are some blended shapes you can use as pattern for your design. Here are some simple composition. In designing, you should have a very creative mind. Like this one. Simple composition of shape out from positive to negative images. So you can use negative images, turn it to positive images. So you can create some kind of illusion, even though in this pattern we are using black and white. The positive pattern. Positive shapes occupy positive space. The area around positive shapes, the background is negative. A solid piece of pattern occupies space and makes the space around it come to life. In fact, the patterns think of the entire composition, the interplay between solid and the space, when they create a work of art. In this diagram, the negative shapes are clear and distinct as the positive shapes. Therefore, the positive and the negative shapes can complement each other. Here are some logos of company logo, corporate logo that are using negative and positive effect of patterns. Watch it carefully and study how to use negative effects and positive patterns using black and white or one single color. The tangram, or Chinese seven boards of skill, is a dissection puzzle consisting of the seven flat shapes called tans, which are to put together to form shapes. Here are some examples of the tangram composition. You can use the tangram composition and apply it in your new form or in theory of shapes for architecture. This tangram can be used as your reference. Expressive architecture, or what we call futuristic architecture, such as this, the Opera House, and the frank, airy, shifting shapes and moving architecture is his specialty, the Disney Concert Hall. And the classic Sydney Opera House by John Otson in Australia. Also the famous Palm Island in Dubai, a man-made island located at the coast of the United Arab Emirates in the Persian Gulf. The contractors are Jan Dinol and Van Oord, famous marine constructor companies from Belgium and Germany. These are artificial archipelago named Palm Jumeirah, Palm Jebel Ali, and Palm Dira. The construction of this island will add 520 kilometers of beaches to the city of Dubai, designed and constructed by Nakil Group. Architects use a variety of shapes in designing buildings such as these. Form, the shape and structure of something as distinguished from its substance or material. Form is an element of art that is three-dimensional and encloses volume. It includes height, width, depth, as in the cube, sphere, pyramid, or a cylinder. Form may also be free-flowing. It is the illusion of 3D effect that can be implied with the use of light and shading techniques. Form can be viewed from many angles. Here are some geometric shapes and form. The cube, cuboid, sphere, cylinder, cone, prism, pyramid, and a frustum. The polyhedrons. The simplest and the most common polyhedrons used in constructed modeling are prisms, pyramids, and the truncation of frustum of a pyramid. Visual forms characteristics. These are the basic visual forms like the cube, sphere, cylinder, and the pyramid. Blended forms. Composite forms out from the primary shapes, the circle, the square, and the triangle. You can create what we call the platonic solids or geometric shapes. Composite forms like this in the example. Here are some examples of composite forms. Please watch it very carefully. Forms in architecture that you can create, like a futuristic piece of art. These are very curvy forms, or even spiral forms. Another forms in architecture. Interesting forms can be created to cater the functions and need of space by combining forms by means of union, intersections, and subtractions. This is where your additive and transformative method welcomes in designing such this kind of form or shapes in architecture. These are some examples of very modern or futuristic shapes of buildings. Even furniture today has a very modern shapes like this in the example. Figurine and sculpture also has abstract shapes. It is called biomorphic forms. According to Louis Sullivan, form ever follows function, or every form has a function, or you should create forms to follow its function. It is a principle associated with modernist architecture and industrial design in the 20th century. The principle is that the shape of a building or object should be primarily based upon its intended function or purpose. That's according to Louis Sullivan. An actual space is a three-dimensional volume that can be empty or filled with object. It has width, height, and depth. Space that appears three-dimensional in two-dimensional painting is an illusion that creates a perception of depth. Architectural form occurs at the juncture between mass and the space. In executing and reading design drawings, we should concern with both the form of the mass containing volume of space as well as the form and spatial volume itself. Space can be either full or empty to void an empty volume. Alright guys, just continue reading and watch this slide or clips of these videos, and at the end of the video just answer or make our homework. That's your assigned activity, activity 1 for our subject. Don't forget our subject, it is Visual Techniques 2 in Architecture. Thank you so much for watching today. Subscribe the channel, comment. Your comment will serve as your attendance. Share and like. Thank you so much. Alright guys, here is your assignment. How to do it and what to do. Of course, you can make for your assignment number 1 or activity number 1 is make a design or make a pattern using points or dots. Okay, you can choose your shape that you like. Example, you are drawing a shape of a flower or natural shapes or even abstract art, as long as you are using dots or points or circle pattern. So points and dots patterns that create shapes, yan ang inyong gawin for your assignment number 1. Of course, saan ba ito gagawin? Pwedeng sa bond paper. You can use any colored pencil or still you can use the black and white. Pero I suggest use mixed colors. Iba't ibang kulay. Try to experiment on colors. Like in this figure 2 right here, we'll be experimenting on different colors to create patterns using points and dots. Alright, so sa isang bond paper lang yan. That is your number 1 assignment. And about number 2, here it is. This is more confusing to you. What to do? Anong gagawin dito? Make different pattern using different lines. Example, right here, don't copy this example. You can create abstract composition of forms and shapes, or you can use natural. Example, mountains, river, landscape, seascape. Pwedeng object, pwedeng still life, like fruits on the table or flowers on the table, or object like your favorite shoes. You can drawing it as long as you are applying different lines. Ba't ibang klaseng linya ang mailagay nyo sa drawing? Merong curve, merong diagonal, slanting, straights, zigzag, and wavy lines. Tulad ng nasa picture. Alright, klarong-klaro. So, dalawa ang gagawin, dalawang bond paper. Paano ba yan isubmit? Well, every midterm and finals, yan ang ating submission. You can submit it here in our office on midterm, and we have also activities to be submitted during finals. Okay, so just do it. Every assignment, every homework, gawin nyo and then compiled it in a folder or brown envelope. And then every midterm you should submit it right here in our school. And final activities is coming up in a couple of months from now. Thank you so much, guys. Don't forget to subscribe my channel to be updated for more videos. Thank you.